Can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so I dated this guy named Jack for several years. He was a very talented poet, emotionally unstable, had the most beautiful blonde, luscious hair you could rub your hands through, inset blue eyes that were electric. He was super enigmatic and really fucking cool. We dated for 2 years, and we did a lot of coke together. We drank endless booze together, and we fought constantly over his wandering eye and my jealousy. So this one night, it was around this time, 6 years ago, I was 21 going on 22. I was wearing a 60s distressed surfer crop top, navy high-waisted shorts, a pink vintage 80s denim jacket that was also cropped, silver go-go boots that I got for $20. I had bangs that I cut and an acid like thing. I was on acid. It was a mess. I had glitter on my face. I had a pink leather crossbody with a sticker that said "fuck fascists" on it. That's who I was. That's not me anymore, but that's really who I was in 2014. I'm walking home really pissed off. I am carrying within that bag my boyfriend's Camel Crushes that I stole from him. I didn't even like Camel Crushes. I just wanted to make him mad. And our house key. So I'm sliding on the ice in these boots, walking home. I get in the front door, go into the kitchen, pour myself a whiskey neat, go into the living room, grab my record of The Doors, put it on, I light a cigarette, and I am just fuming. Song 4, I think, on the record is Summer's Almost Gone, and that's when I hear him knocking on the door. And I meet him on the fire escape, and I have my glass like this and his cigarettes like this. And he's yelling at me. I don't remember what he was yelling. Like, it's a memory, or like, you know when you dream but there's no volume? That's the memory. I don't remember anything until he says something to me, and I snap. And the reason I gave him a key, I called it the fish key, because we shared a beta fish that we named Solomon after Toni Morrison's Song of Solomon, and also the Song of Solomon by Kate Bush from her 1993 album, The Red Shoes. He says something, and I go into my apartment and with the cigarette, and I'm just fuming. I grab the fishbowl. I stomp out onto the fire escape, and I just throw it. I throw it at him, and it hits the pavement. I know. Like I said, it's not me anymore. But he's looking for the fish, and Jack looks at me and goes, "You killed Solomon," and I said, without missing a beat, I was like, "Well, you broke my heart." I go in the house, I lock the door, and I'm like, I'm not gonna let him in. I flip the record, I let him in. So the rest of it's almost like a fever dream, like him doing cocaine off of my mantle, me also doing cocaine on the mantle, us yelling, him calling me crazy, me telling him that he doesn't love me the way that I want him to, and then it just goes black. And then I wake up the next day, and I don't really remember anything. Jack didn't really ever sleep well. I woke up, he was cooking me poached eggs. The coffee pot was full of coffee. It was almost like nothing happened. I am just in a cardigan and my underwear, and then I grab my coat, and we're sitting on my fire escape, and I'm barefoot in this cold January morning, drinking this coffee. I don't remember anything. I'm smoking my cigarettes, which were Marlboro Reds at the time. And he looks at me and goes, "I can't believe you killed Solomon." and he thinks it's funny. And I was like, what are you talking about? And I look off of my fire escape and I could see the pavement and I can see the blue pebbles that were at the bottom of the bowl and like the shards of glass that are on the pavement. And I think it's just all the drugs in my system and the alcohol in my system. Like a switch goes off and I get up and I run onto the pavement looking for the fish. And he's yelling at me to stop it. And I don't understand why. And then I look down and my feet are cut. I cut my feet on the bowl that I broke the night before. And he goes down, he like basically lifts me up and carries me back into the apartment, puts me on the kitchen counter. I grab a glass and grab the whiskey from the night before to pour because I'm stressed. And he grabs the first aid kit, which I needed frequently at the time because I was so clumsy. And he still thinks it's funny. And I'm thinking, how can I be with someone that thinks that's funny? I killed the fish and he thinks it's funny. I literally threw something and let it die that we cared for. And he thought it was funny. He bandaged me up and I asked him to leave. And he didn't really understand why. And I didn't really fully comprehend it at the time either. And we broke up. And I ignored so many red flags, but I feel like eventually there's like, more often than not, there's like, something breaks the camel's back and you're just, Solomon was that. You know, he was a good fish. Like, he never did anything. You know, I killed him because I was mad. But, yeah, I ran into him a few years later at an art show. I was very sober at the time. I wasn't sober. So I'm sober now. I've been sober a year. But, like, yeah. I'm no longer throwing fish bowls and doing lines of coke off of a dirty mantle. Great. But I was like, I saw him and I was like, you look good. And he was like, so do you. He told me he was moving and I was like, that's great. Have a nice life. And I hope that he's okay. And I also hope that he no longer thinks stuff like that is funny because I never did. So thank you.